Not the casket. Take him out. Take him out of there.
How you gonna say we gonna get him out?
Take him out of there.
Hey guys, welcome back to Taylor on TV. My name is Taylor if you're new, and today we're going to be talking about Tyler Perry's Divorce in the Black. I was this close to not even making this video. Initially, I wasn't going to watch this movie, but there were so many people on my Facebook saying that this was such a great movie, so amazing. And the thing that really sold me on this was that there were people saying, oh, Tyler Perry has messed up before, but he got it right this time. So I sat down and I decided to watch this film, and within the first 10 minutes, I knew that I was in for a ride. So usually, or in the future when I make these videos, what I want to do is I want to give you guys a blow-by-blow breakdown. I kind of already done one, like with Joyride, my first video. I watched that movie maybe twice in preparation for that video, so I knew what was going on. I could make notes and I could talk about it with knowledge, right? This movie, I can't bring myself to watch this twice. I'm not doing that with this movie. I refuse. So I'm going to be shooting from the hip, giving you guys a breakdown from memory, or, it doesn't even have to really be from memory. This movie was that terrible that nothing really happens. So spoilers ahead if you haven't seen the movie, but I'm sure if you've ever seen a Tubi movie or any Tyler Perry movie, you already know what's going to happen in this movie. I couldn't possibly spoil it for you. So without further ado, here is a breakdown of Tyler Perry's A Divorce in the Black. And if you see me looking over here, these are kind of like the notes I kind of made on this movie. All right, anyways, here we go. So the film begins with a funeral, and we're introduced to Pastor Clarence, played by Richard Lawson. And the only reason why I know this man's name is Clarence is because I'm sitting here looking at the IMDb right now, because they really don't introduce characters very properly in this movie, but I digress. The funeral begins taking a turn when Pastor starts talking cold cash shit about the man laying in the casket. So to make a long story short, Corey Hardrick's character, I believe his name is Dallas, and he is married to Megan Good's character, whose name is Ava. It's almost not even worth calling them by their character names, because I promise you, they really don't talk about him that much in that movie. Okay. Corey Hardrick's brother is the deceased at the front of the church, and the pastor is basically telling the church that this man is in hell. The way that he died was he robbed one of the church members, and one of the church members shot him. And so he's basically giving a sermon about how living wrong will ultimately send you to hell, and that's where this man is, which is very interesting for a pastor to do at a funeral service, but I guess. So this, of course, causes Corey Hardrick and his brothers and his mother to be upset, because why are you talking ill of the dead? I mean, I can admit that I've been to several funerals where people talk about the dead as if they were angels, and that's not true. So I guess. Anyways, the mother then gets up and she's upset with the fact that he's essentially telling the truth at the funeral, and she just starts going off. One thing that people have noted about this character, her name is Linda. Again, I don't think they ever say this woman's name in this movie, but Linda is played by Ursula O. Robinson. And her rendition of this character is essentially Monique and Precious. Okay, that was her study for this film. That's what she was channeling the whole time in this character. So basically Linda gets up and she tells the pastor that we don't need your charity. We never needed any of this, because apparently Megan Good's father is the pastor, and out of the kindness of his heart, he is paying for the funeral. He paid for the casket. He's doing the service for free. He even put the dress on the mother's back. So since she says she doesn't need any of this, she strips down in the middle of the church, takes the dress off, and she's standing there in nothing but her slip. And she tells her sons to get their brother, their deceased brother. So it is so hard to talk about this movie and have it make sense, because it doesn't make sense. It's so outlandish. Okay. The mother then tells her kids to get their brother, not the casket, Because the pastor paid for the casket, and I don't want to hear his mouth. I don't want him saying that, I gave you. No, take the dead body, the loose dead body out of the casket. And that's what they do. So now you have a woman and her living children carrying a dead body, their dead brother, out of the church. And that is the opening of this movie. First of all, Corey Hardrick has maybe 4 brothers that I can remember, not including the dead one in the casket. And I think the whole reason for him having these brothers in this movie is simply to play out this scene. Because other than this scene, these brothers are literally pointless. They really don't have much screen time, 0 character development, and I don't think their names are ever called outside of this funeral scene. So I really think Tyler Perry just wanted to execute this scene, and in order to carry out a dead body, he needed like 3 more brothers. I wholeheartedly think that's what happened. After this scene, Meagan Good tries to console her husband, Corey Hardrick, and he's just being a jerk to her, to the point where he eventually asked her for a divorce out of literally nowhere for no reason. He asked her for a divorce. She tells her best friend is played by Taylor Polidor Williams, and her best friend's name is Rona. Again, this movie is so ill written that I don't recall them calling people's names. Like, usually you could catch on to a name, but it's so terrible. It's so ill written. She tells her best friend Rona that Corey Hardrick asked for a divorce, and in response to that, Rona pulls out a piece of paper. And in this piece of paper, she's like, "Here, girl, I've written down every bad thing he's ever done to you." Because that's what friends are for, right? To write down every terrible thing I ever told you my man did to me. That is so weird. A lot of things in this movie are so unnatural and just don't make sense. Who does that? Who writes down imagine this. Think of everything that you've ever told your girlfriend or homeboy that your partner has done. Like, girl, can you believe he did X, Y, Z and the third? And then you find out that she has a notebook or a piece of paper, multiple pieces of paper, documenting every terrible thing you've ever told her. What is that? Who does that? Moving on. So Meagan Good is so distraught that Corey Hardrick is asking for a divorce that she goes back to stay with her parents for a little while. Now, while living with her parents, her mother discovers said note. Her mother is a mess, crying, horrible crying about the horrible things detailed in this note. Apparently, Corey Hardrick's character has spit on Meagan Good, has done all kinds of nefarious things, but we don't really get to see that visually. So the mother discovers the note, and they promise each other not to tell the dad because the dad he'd basically be so pissed and want to kill him. So they're going to keep that note between mother and daughter. We're not going to tell daddy that you've been being abused for however many years, because that makes sense. After Meagan Good has moved in with her parents and her mother has discovered that she has been being abused her whole marriage, the parents then think it's a good idea to set Meagan Good up with some guy that she's known from her childhood. You're telling me that your daughter is going through a divorce, and then a divorce with a man who is abusive, and you immediately want her to jump into another relationship with just some random man. Tyler Perry, this does not make sense. Meagan Good's father then encourages her to go on a date or spend time with this new guy. The new guy's name, his name is Benji. Let me wrap this up because this don't make no sense. She goes on a date with this guy named Benji. Somebody takes pictures of Meagan Good and the new guy, sends the pictures to Corey Hardrick. Corey Hardrick is then pissed, like, "Oh, she been playing in my face this whole time. She been playing me. I knew she was cheating on me this whole marriage." It does not make sense. So now that she's moved on and is talking to somebody else, now Corey Hardrick is pissed. His version of being pissed is him just shouting. All he does in this movie is yell and curse her out in public. And the way he curses people out, not even the way he curses people out, this whole character that he's playing, it looks like something out of a blaxploitation film. Like,
"Do you want to lose your job, bitch? Fuck y'all looking at? Tell your husband that shit, bitch. I got something for his ass. And what the fuck you looking at?"
What year is this character from? Please. He curses her out, Ike Turner style, in public at her job. He wants to rush the divorce. Like, let's hurry up and get this shit over with. So now we're at the divorce settlement or the divorce paper signing scene. Megan Good comes without representation, and the lawyer there says, "Are you sure that you want to sign these papers without being represented?" And she's like, "Well, I read the papers and I understand them." This scene drags out so long, you would think it would be significant.
Do you have a lawyer?
No, but I've read it and I understand it, so where do I sign?
Well, I would recommend you have counsel here before signing.
Are you sure? Like, the way, how long this scene was, you would think it was going to come back up later, but it doesn't. So she signs the papers, and then after that, her best friend throws her a divorce party. At the divorce party, she links back up with the dude that her dad wanted her to be with. And after that party, they go home or back to Megan Good's house and they have sex. The next morning, she wakes up and Corey is in her kitchen and she's like, "You can't be here." And he's like, "Yes, I can." So in this moment, in this scene, I was thinking, okay, maybe she did not read those papers well enough and he actually does own this house. But that just makes too much sense, right? For Tyler Perry, that makes way too much sense. No, the papers were good. Everything was fine with that lawyer scene. It was just a pointless ass scene. No reason for that scene to be in this movie. Anyways, or there was no reason for the scene to be presented that way, as if there was something in these divorce papers that she is overlooking, but there's nothing like that. Corey is eating breakfast in his kitchen and he's telling her, "I can be here as long as I want to. This is my house too." At this point, he's just picking with her because he knows that she's moved on with someone else. But what he doesn't know is that the guy is still upstairs, knocked out from the night before. So as he's trying to claim this to be his house, he walks upstairs and he discovers the guy laying in his bed. And Megan Good doesn't say anything to warn this man, like, hey, she just lets this man get jumped in his sleep. This man is probably, but he's not naked because we see him get up and fight. But I mean, I'm asleep and you allow this man to just come bust me in my head while I'm asleep. You've said nothing. And I think that is so crazy. If that was me, if I was Megan Good's character and I walked downstairs and I saw my ex-husband sitting in the kitchen and I know there's a man upstairs asleep, I'm turning around and I'm going to go tell that man, "Hey, my ex-husband is here. You need to get up." But she doesn't warn him at all. She just lets him get hit in the head while he sleep. It don't make sense. And if I was him, I would be done with her. Because why didn't you warn me? Why didn't you say anything? After that, Corey Hardrick gets in a fight with the new dude and the new dude beats him up. And then Megan Good drags him out of the house. And this is supposed to be her "I'm so strong and powerful and I'm over you" moment. Okay, whatever. After this, Corey Hardrick is pissed. And he goes and he kills the new dude's animals, all the animals on his farm. But this scene is so interesting because all the animals are laying next to each other in the yard. Maybe they drug them all together, but in what world are all these animals going to be in the same pen loose together? This is a weird setup, I guess. So the police are called and people are looking at Corey Hardrick crazy because you just killed all these animals. After that, he is now in the grocery store and he is threatening Megan Good's mother. After that, Megan Good's father finds out that he threatened Megan Good's mother, and he rolls up on the house and he tries to threaten the whole family, to which Corey Hardrick's brothers jump him and shoot him in the leg. And that's when Megan Good has had enough. Megan Good then lures Corey Hardrick back to her house by calling him on the phone and telling him, "Hey, I'm about to hook up with my new dude and he's so much better than you."
I'm on my way home right now to make love to Benji. He makes love to me the way that you never could. He makes me feel so.
Corey Hardrick, he's not having that. So he falls right into the trap and shows up at her house. Once he shows up at the house, he starts talking to her and confessing all kinds of things, including the fact that he might have killed his father or something like that. And he gets pissed and starts yelling and throwing her around. And this is the first time we see him lay hands on her. She pulls out a shotgun, shoots him dead. And that's literally the end of the movie. Why that took 2 hours to tell for Tyler Perry, I don't know. This was probably the worst movie I have ever seen. I'm not going to say in my life, because I think I've seen worse. But there's so many things about this movie that could have been fixed with just better writing. The first thing being, if Megan Good would have been the one to file for divorce, Corey Hardrick's character now has motive to be upset. He now has motive to think, oh, you were cheating on me. It makes sense for Megan Good to move on a little bit quicker because she's the one that filed for divorce. But in this film, he files for divorce and she's distraught. Which brings me to another point. What are we distraught over? Because this film makes it very apparent that Corey Hardrick has been an asshole to her since the beginning of their marriage. There's even a clip showing that at her wedding, his mother walks up to her and knocks the bouquet out of her hand while they're saying their vows. It would have been over that day. It would have been over immediately at that wedding. So you didn't give Corey Hardrick any redeemable qualities. Like, what is she holding on to? Why does she love him? It doesn't make sense. Another thing that doesn't really make sense is these brothers that he has and the backstory and like, oh, I had to kill my dad. What is that about? I think this movie might have been rushed. Like, I feel like it was supposed to be more to this story because his brothers. Now, I skipped over some scenes when giving my synopsis because they did not matter in the long run. But there was a scene where Megan Good was trying to get Corey Hardrick out of a bar. She was having a hard time, but she talked to one of his brothers who seemed to be the level-headed brother. And it's kind of like, okay, what are these brothers' personalities? It seemed like that was something that Tyler Perry was going to touch on, but just cut it out. That's really what it seemed like. Another thing, at the funeral, Megan Good's father said Corey Hardrick's character is the only one that tried to make something out of himself out of all the brothers. He actually graduated high school and was actually on the way to being somebody. That did not matter either. It seems like there was like little Easter eggs or like little things that Tyler Perry was going to do with the story but ended up not doing for whatever reason. I don't know, like I see glimpses of more story coming out and some of the things people are saying and doing, but in the end, it amounted to nothing. Kind of like the lawyer scene. So the lawyer is saying like, are you sure you don't read this paperwork? Are you sure? You know, when scenes like that happen, you think something is going to come of it. Like I just knew he was going to take her for everything. And that kind of would make more sense with the name of the movie being Divorce in the Black. Like the term in the black is like a financial term. And I actually had to look it up when I was watching the movie because I never heard of in the black. I've always heard of in the red. But like in the black, it means making a profit or being profitable. That's what Google says. So you would think like that theme would come up somewhere in the movie. And I was really expecting it to come up when the lawyer was talking about the paperwork, like she needs to pay more attention to it. So I thought, you know, something like that would have came of the movie, but it never did. Tyler Perry's movies were always bad, like always have been bad, but this is a whole nother level. Then, like, if you think about it, back in the day when we would talk about Tyler Perry's movies being bad, we were referring to like The Wigs or his overuse of, well, my mother was a crackhead and now we have reached a whole nother level of bad. At first, you know, it was the black tropes. Then it was the wigs. And now we're down to storyline. The storylines aren't even good. And I think that's saying a lot. Because at the end of the day, Tyler Perry was a playwright. And what is a play without the story? So I don't know if he's getting lazy. I don't know if he's using ChatGPT. I don't know what's going on, but in the beginning, Tyler Perry was making good stories. They were making sense, and now they're just not. It feels like you asked ChatGPT to make a Tyler Perry film. As a matter of fact, I'm about to do it now. I'm going to see what ChatGPT gives me. What ChatGPT wrote was actually 99.999% better than this movie. You would think I was joking, but like this synopsis of a film is actually better than anything Tyler Perry has written. Let me put some respect on ChatGPT's name because this script is so much better than this movie. Like, yeah, I want better for Tyler Perry because it's almost like he can't have a 100% good project. The storylines are going to be at 99% with the plays, but then like the visuals are low, right? Okay, well, you get to having the first movies. The storyline is great. The visuals are great, but the costumes and wigs are not, okay? So now, like, for example, Mea Culpa. You have an amazing cast. Like the cast of that movie, 10 out of 10. Like those are some good looking people, great actors. You know, the visuals were great. The visuals were really good. It would probably benefit him to write a play at this point, because I think just go back to your roots. I think that's what you need to start again. Something needs to happen. Anyways, I made this video just to warn you, don't waste your 2 hours. I am so sorry that this video was all over the place. If you felt like this was a shitty review, because I feel like this review might turn out to be shitty too because I'm all over the place. That's literally how this movie was. Imagine how I felt spending 2 hours watching this movie. If you felt like this was shit, if you think this video was trash, imagine watching the movie. Same thing. I just saved you 2 hours. You're welcome. You know, I never want to be negative on this channel. I never want to bash anyone. So that's why I'm thinking next week I might talk about one of my favorite Tyler Perry movies and then like give him his praises for the things that he did do right in that movie. Yeah, so maybe this week's video was necessary so that I can segue into next week's video. I'm curious to know what you guys think that movie is. So comment down below what you guys think my favorite Tyler Perry movie is, or just comment down below your favorite Tyler Perry movie. Let's try to be positive here. Let's talk about the good instead of just dragging him, because everybody is on the internet right now dragging Tyler Perry for this movie. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.